Do we truly make our own choices? Or are our actions determined by forces beyond our control? The debate over free will has shaped the very face of thought itself for centuries. And yet it seems that in all that time, no progress whatsoever has been made. Thinkers on both sides of the divide seem perpetually at odds, even over the very meanings of the terms they argue about. What even is this thing we call free will, anyway? Does it mean the ability to have acted other than one in fact did? Or perhaps it simply means the absence of external coercion. Does it suffice to talk about the capacity to act in accordance with one's own reasons and desires? Philosophers commonly paraphrase the notion of free will in the first way, speaking about the capacity to choose, such that you could have chosen otherwise. But could you really, though? Determinism holds that every event, including human choices, is the necessary result of preceding causes. If the universe operates according to fixed laws, then every thought, action, and decision was set in motion long before we were born. Laplace's demon, a hypothetical intelligence that knows the exact state of everything, could, in principle, predict the entire future with perfect accuracy. If this is true, then free will is an illusion. We only feel free because we do not see the underlying chain of causation and thus cannot predict what it will inevitably lead to. Even our leading scientific theories give seemingly conflicting notions for the possibilities of free will. The B theory of time, which arises from Einstein's theory of general relativity, suggests that past, present, and future all exist equally in a four-dimensional block universe. In this view, time does not flow. Instead, all events are already laid out, and our experience of choice is simply a sort of playing out in a pre-existing structure. On the other hand, indeterminism suggests that not everything is predetermined. Some events, particularly at the quantum level, seem to occur probabilistically, without prior causes. However, probabilities alone do not grant free will. After all, an action being unpredictable does not make it freely chosen. A roll of the dice is not an act of will, but an outcome of chance. Compatibilists attempt to redefine free will in a way that eliminates the tension with determinism. One strategy for this is to argue that freedom does not require absolute independence from causality, but only that our actions arise from our own desires and reasoning. A person is free, one might claim, if they act according to their own motivations, even if those motivations themselves have prior causes. Thinkers like David Hume and Immanuel Kant held that freedom lies not in escaping causality, but in acting in accordance with rational self-determination. Idealism offers a radical new perspective on the issue, arguing that mind is primary and that causation itself might be a construct of consciousness. If reality is ultimately mental or mathematical in nature, then free will could emerge as a fundamental feature of experience rather than a byproduct of physical laws. Schopenhauer, for instance, saw the world as will and representation, where individual choice is an expression of a deeper, universal will. Neuroscience further complicates the matter, suggesting that decisions might be anticipated in the brain before we become consciously aware of them. If true, does this mean we are merely observers of decisions already determined? Or do we still play some role in shaping, affirming, or overriding these impulses? Free will has important implications for our ideas of self-identity. Whether we are free or bound by necessity appears to depend on how we define free will itself. If it means a completely spontaneous decision, it may simply be impossible. On the other hand, if it can be construed to mean acting according to our own nature, it may still be preserved. If the future is as real as the past, then the question remains, is free will an illusion, or is it the only way we can meaningfully experience reality? That we can choose in favor of what we want seems obvious, but are we able to exercise that same power in choosing what to want? What do you think? Can you choose to go against the grain and dislike this video? Or are you instead bound by who you are and what you know to answer in a way that is authentically your own?